Hi everybody, my name is Caitlin and welcome back to my channel where we discuss all things horror and horror related. And today, of course, we're going to be talking about Scream 5. I just saw the film last night and I'm going to be doing a quick non-spoiler review for you today. I will be posting a longer review that has spoilers later, but for right now I'm just going to give my general thoughts on the film. So, does Scream 5 live up to Wes Craven's original masterpiece? Let's get into it. So Scream 5 brings us back to Woodsboro, and in many ways this film is copying the traditional formula that we've come to expect from the Scream franchise. A Ghostface killer pops up, he begins killing off the local teenagers. There's a group of friends who are being stalked and targeted by Ghostface, and they have to try to figure out who's behind the killings and why before it's too late. And the new characters receive help from the legacy characters. Of course, Dewey, Gale, and Sydney show up at one point, but the legacy characters actually take a step back in this film. It really is the new characters' story, and then you have Gale and Dewey and Sydney popping in and out to help them when they need it. And just like every Scream movie, there's a running commentary on the horror genre, on recent trends in the genre, and this one is really focusing on horror fans and fan culture. Fans of the Scream franchise and the original film, you are more than likely going to love this movie. It is not deviating too far away from the original narrative structure of the previous films, and it works in this film. They find a way to incorporate new elements while sticking with what they know the fans are going to want to see. I was a bit nervous going into this film. To be perfectly honest, I have not been a fan of this horror sequel, reboot, requel as they call it in the film, trend that's been happening in the genre lately. Although to be fair, I don't think Scream 5 qualifies as either a requel or a reboot. It feels like a natural next entry into the franchise. This is not one of those films that's trying to erase all the sequels that came before it. It very much acknowledges everything that happened before in the series and continues with that storyline. I was pleasantly surprised by this film. I had such a good time watching it, and like I said, it has that similar narrative structure to the other Scream films. It feels like a Scream movie despite Wes Craven not directing it. The directors did a fantastic job of recreating what made the original Scream so much fun and so beloved. So kudos to the directors. They were definitely channeling Wes Craven while making this movie. It looks the same as the original Scream films. It has that same witty dialogue, witty banter between characters. The characters feel smart and authentic. No one's making dumb decisions just for the sake of being dumb so that Ghostface can come and kill them. And what I liked most about this film is the way that the filmmakers blend in the new characters and the legacy characters. I feel like so often with these requels, what ends up happening is that the newer characters end up being underwritten, underdeveloped, in favor of putting all the focus on the legacy characters. As I said, the legacy characters are really taking a back seat here. They certainly play a role, they come in, but it's not their story. So I feel like it was able to stay within the Scream formula while also adding in these new elements and these new characters and creating characters that you as an audience member actually care about. I actually really enjoyed the new group of teens. I was afraid they were going to be annoying, but I had a blast hanging out with them. So I really liked how the writers handled the characters. It was a nice passing of the torch from the original trio to the new characters. And finally, I thought the filmmakers did a great job with their commentary on the state of the horror genre, on trends that are happening within the genre, and just horror fandom in general. And I think the film does a great job of both acknowledging the annoyances that horror fans are having with the genre right now, specifically the perceived lack of originality that is coming from Hollywood and studio pictures. At the same time, the film is also commenting on obsessive fandom and the slippery slope of being so enamored and so in love with the original films that maybe we're not as open or as appreciative of newer horror films that are coming out. You know, there's an idea running through here that our love for these original properties has made it so that Hollywood and film distributors are constantly wanting to put out sequels and reboots and requels, and that as fans, this desire, this need to constantly go back to the past, to the original film, actually ends up destroying what made the original film so great to begin with. There's also a running joke throughout the film on this idea of elevated horror, which is a term that I'm personally not a fan of, but I really like the way that Scream 5 plays with this idea of elevated horror, and also making the point that just because these newer horror films don't follow the same formula or have the same elements as the original films from the 70s or 80s, that doesn't make them any less valid, and that also doesn't mean that they don't have an audience that loves these type of films. It felt like there was a message here of, yes, you can love the original film, there's nothing wrong with that, you'll always have the original, but let's also leave the door open and give a chance to new filmmakers, new stories, new narratives that have potential to become horror classics down the line. So overall, I really enjoyed Scream 5. It might be my favorite sequel out of all of them, which I was not expecting to happen. It really is a fitting tribute to the franchise, the genre, and the master, Wes Craven himself. There were multiple times that I was getting teary-eyed while watching this film because it really is one big tribute to Wes Craven and his work, and you can tell that the directors admire this director and respect him and his legacy, and I really appreciated that as a fan. So those are my brief thoughts on Scream 5. As I said at the beginning of the video, I will be posting a longer review with spoilers. In the meantime, if you haven't seen the film yet, go out and watch it. I think many of you horror fans are going to love it. If you have seen Scream 5, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Bye!